That's a big one. You need something to put on.
I told him, but they didn't let me go get it.
So he's got to have something on.
I sent somebody. He left.
I'm going to go get it.
I can go get it.
No, you stay. You stay. You can ask the questions first. Sorry, they won't call you. Oh, be if I ask. They're not there. They're in the locker room. They're in the locker room here.
Welcome to our post-game press conference, where after the 87-83 victory against TNT, Ginebra has now extended their winning streak to 3. With us is best player of the game, Christian Standhardinger. Christian, congratulations. So prior to the game, the coaches were talking about players having to play bigger or smaller from their usual positions.
I ran down to the bucket section, yelled at him to give you a shoe. I go, whoops, the bucket section's not our locker room. That was embarrassing. Thank you. Nice to be here faster though. Sorry.
No worries. Christian, I'll just start with my question so you could head down to the locker room. So prior to the game, the coaches were talking about having to play either bigger or smaller than your usual positions to try and fill the Jamie Malonzo-shaped hole in the team. What were the adjustments that you had to make today to get this victory?
Yeah, like Coach said, everybody needed to step up, and I'm just happy, see somebody like Nart to really step on the plate. He hit some important trees down the stretch, and also just a mismatch with Japit on the 4 spot. The 5-man is guarding me, and that Japit on that 1 spot in the post up against Softana, he can make a lot of damage there. So it's nice that everybody stepped up, and we got this very important victory.
2 more games for you in the elimination round, Christian. What will you be holding on to as you try to close this out strong?
Just, like Coach said, we gotta try to get toward the top 2 now. Put ourselves in a position where we have the best odds to get into the series of the quarterfinals and semifinals, and we just gotta really take care of business now.
Thank you, Christian.
That's okay. Thank you, Coach.
I think they're going to want to ask you questions. Sorry.
Let me open up the floor to questions for Christian so he can head to the dugout.
Christian, congratulations.
Thank you.
Play against TNT is always tough. How do you guys were able to keep yourself at pace with TNT, especially you had a 21-point lead, and the second half was very tight there.
Good question.
I think that comes with reps. I remember the conferences where we won the championships. We were very smart, and we played it very strategic in situations like that. And obviously, every time a new team comes together and we get some new important pieces, we need to find that identity again. But I'm sure this was a big learning lesson today, and just hope that we can learn from a victory instead of from a loss.
Okay.
Okay.
Thank you, Christian. Coach Tim, congratulations.
Yeah.
Were there elements of the game where you felt that you were evenly matched with TNT that made this so competitive? What for you made this match so competitive down to the wire?
Well, we came out and played really well in the beginning of the basketball game, and we defended the way we wanted to defend, and we kept the tempo the way we wanted to play it. And then Coach Chart made a great adjustment and put Calvin at the 4 spot, and we went down and matched up with them, and they just outquicked us at that point, and they had that explosive second quarter. So, we had to think at halftime. Luckily, we had a halftime to think about it, and what are we going to do? How are we going to do it? Can we continue to play Christian and Japith together? But how would we match up? So we decided to let Japith go out and guard their point guards so we could keep our matchups on Oftana and Roger. And we kept that for a while, and And then Nards was the one rotating with our four-man coming out, and he switched off to the point guard, and he played really, really well and made some big shots and made some big defensive plays for us. So it was truly a team performance. And again, it was just a lot of manipulating for them and us, and that's why it felt so close. We were surprised, actually, by the big lead we had. We were really surprised. And I wasn't surprised that they made a run back at us. I was just surprised at how fast it happened. It was like a blink of an eye. All of a sudden, we were up 21, and all of a sudden, we were tied. So that was a bit disappointing. But I think the guys, got to halftime, and we sat inside. I said, we feel like we're down 20 after the halftime because, we blew a 20-point lead. But in reality, it was still tied. So we still had a game to play, and we just had to play it possession by possession in the second half. And I thought our guys did a really good job of doing that, playing it possession by possession, value in each possession.
Coach, you've now extended your winning streak to 3. You have 2 games left in the elimination round. Where's your head at in terms of the playoffs, being playoffs ready, and adjusting to Jamie not being here? Yeah, well,
like we said, we had Japeth had to adjust down because he had to go and guard point guards, which is really a test of his versatility and his mental strength to be able to adjust to that. And and he didn't have any practice doing it. We never thought about that doing. We didn't put him in against point guards at practice. And we had to, Ralph had to step up and play bigger guys. Stanley had to step up and play taller guys. So, we're going to have to continue to do that through the next couple of games. Try to continue to be creative in our lineup composition. And, it's the old coach speak, take one game at a time. We got Converge out of town in Cagayan. And then we come back with NLEX, who is that's the team we're going to have to really face off with for that number 2 spot. They're playing really good basketball. So, we've got still a big, tough road ahead of us before the playoffs start.
Thank you, Coach. At this point, we're opening the floor to the media.
Coach, congrats again. We all know what happened to Jamie, but how you guys were able to, to pick yourselves up after when it was confirmed that he's out and preparing for this game against TNT?
Yeah, it was good that we had, 4 days from, I guess it's 4 days from his injury. So to really think about how we wanted to do things and adjust. If we had to turn around and play, with only one practice, we probably wouldn't have been able to do as well as we did today. But given 4 days, we're able to think about it. And I think now we have, we don't play till Saturday. So we have another 8 days, and we'll continue to think about this, try to be more efficient in how we attack things. We'll look around the league for help, see if there's somebody out there that could help us out, whether it be through picking up a player from, who knows, MPBL, I don't know, but, or in trade or whatever. But we definitely need, we've lost, if you think about it, a year or so ago, that was our strongest, deepest position. We had Maya, who was playing so well on the PBA Tour team, and we were really planning on leaning heavily on him. Aljon has been out for quite a while. He's had a couple of surgeries, and he was there. And then we had Jamie. So, and then we picked up also JD Dillinger. So we felt that position was particularly strong. And now we basically lost all of them. And now that position has become the fittest position on our team. So we see Ralph more as a stretch 4 rather than a pure 3 or a hybrid player. So so we do need some help in that position. We're looking around trying to find some help in that position.
Is there a possibility you could work something out before a certain period of time?
Say again?
Is there a possibility you could sort things out, especially looking for someone?
Well, that's the goal. I don't know we can. I don't know what's available to us. But we have 8 days before we play on Saturday, and then I think we don't play until Sunday after that. So we have another 8 days after that. So 16 days over our next 2 games. So like I said, hopefully we can figure something out within those 16 days.
Coach, in that second half, particularly in the fourth quarter, it was very noticeable in the TNT bench that in almost every time the Gin Kings would score, instead of being aggravated, Coach Chot was just, giving a round of applause with the way you guys scored the basket. Can you just
I
talk
don't think
about-
that you're misinterpreting that, because I do the same thing, and I know Coach Chut. No, he is not applauding us. He's applauding his defense because it was a tough shot that went in. So when he claps like that, when we score, he's actually applauding his defense for making a good defensive stand, even though the shot is going in. So he's encouraging the defense. Like when that shot with Ralph Koo hit, it was like off the out of bounds and after the timeout, he hit that shot. I mean, yeah, he applauded because it was a good defense. They shut everything down inside, forced a pass outside, and forced a tough shot. So he's not applauding us when he for a good play. He's applauding his defense for playing well,
But
despite giving up the points.
But in that same topic, Coach, can you just talk about the level of respect you guys both have for each other?
Oh, well, I mean, it's always there. I really hate playing against Chut. I really hate it. First of all, he knows me like a book, and I lose more games than I win against him. So there's multiple reasons why I don't like playing against him. I do have, I mean, we were in the World Cup together. He asked me to be in the World Cup together, and basically put me in a position to be the national team coach here. So I owe him all that, and there's a lot that, we have given to each other over the years, I think, and we've given each other opportunities. And so, yeah, we have tremendous respect, and I respect him so much just from a coaching standpoint, much less a person standpoint, a friendship standpoint, but the coaching point is really big. Great respect for what he does. And despite, we get mad when we lose to each other, there's no doubt. But maybe after a day or two, we settle down. Yes.
You missed Scotty for a huge chunk of the conference. Can you talk about having impact, especially after you hit those 2 threes in the first quarter?
Well, we were what? We were 3-4, in that stretch, playing without him. Of course, we won our first 2 games without him, but then we lost 3 of 4 games. And, the ball was not moving. We weren't defending with the energy that we wanted. It was very, very obvious. And when Scotty came back, it was like a breath of fresh air. Everything came back with it. Suddenly the ball is whizzing around. We're getting, almost 30 assists a game. He's all over on the rebounds. His effort level that he brings is infectious with everybody else, whether it be defense. Tonight he guarded Aftana, and he's not only our best offensive player and our best rebounder, he's also our best defender. So we put a lot of demands on Scotty, and he delivers almost consistently, tremendously well all the time. So it's very obvious the value he brings to us and how much we need him. And I'm just hoping that back doesn't get worn down and he has to sit out again. It's a game-to-game thing with him and that back issue.
Earlier when you mentioned that you guys are trying to sort something out because of the lack of funds, do you mean that you're open to exploring trades?
Yeah, I mean, we're looking for help. Yeah, I mean, we're looking for help outside the lineup to fill that void, because right now we have. I think Sydney is our kind of our 4-man, and after Sydney we go down to a guard. We really don't have anybody in between. We don't have a 3-man on the roster, except for maybe Ralph. And Ralph is trying to fit in there at this point, but he's not a defensive 3. He's more of a stretch 4. So and then we don't have anything backing him up. So it's a big gap between our 4-man and our 2-man. So, yeah, we're looking for help to try to slot somebody in there that can give us some. I mean, it doesn't mean he's going to come out and be a starter or a star, but if he can come out and give us a few minutes and help us, then we'll look for that. But that's what happens when you have injuries, when you have things, you've got to find ways to make them up. So is there a trade pending? Not at all. Have we talked to other teams? Not at all, yet. But I'm sure that there might be things out there that's what this week is going to be about. Again, could be a free agent, could be somebody that's been released by another team. I think we already put a claim in for Dave Morrell, and we're waiting to see if anybody else is going to pick him up. But we were looking at some guys from the MPBL that have gone there recently. So yeah, that's on us that's what you do as a team. You know, you find out where your holes are and you try to fill them. It may sometimes be at the end of the conference, sometimes in the middle of the conference, but we owe that to the other players that we fill that position and keep trying to win championships.
Thank you, Coach Tim. Congrats.